Mr. Griffith is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Moore, I'm going to continue to go with you on that same theme because I like the way you think. Even if we might disagree on some of it, I like the way you think because my district is more than 9,000 square miles in size. I have 28 jurisdictions, and some of those counties are pretty darn large. And so, and I got all kinds of mountains in there too. So it takes, you know, what might look like only about 9 or 10 miles on a map might be a 45-minute to an hour drive because you've got to cross a mountain to get from one town to the next in the same county. So you're saying $1 per voter, and then I appreciate, and this is the part I like the most, recognizing that if you're in Arlington County, Virginia, which is very compact, very populous, you might not need as much money as you would need in Buchanan County. Would you agree with that? Which is a larger county with mountains in it and a smaller population.
Yeah, so the data absolutely bears this out, that the more rural counties, like you said, you have to get people different further, and you have to spread them out in polling places, and so that all costs more per voter. So yes, I think that we need to recognize that.
And I think I heard in your testimony as well that you recognize that if you have some disparities in there, you need to adjust for that. So this is where I go to Mr. Walters' data. Buchanan County, Virginia receives 60 cents in the Zuckerbucks arena. Arlington County receives $1.08. Arlington County is part of the 8th Congressional District, which has a PVI rating of 26 or 27. The 9th District of Virginia, the district I represent, has a PVI of R23. Doesn't it strike you as a little unusual that in the entire 9th District, of the 7 jurisdictions out of 28 that got money, Washington County got the most at 50 cents a voter. Arlington got $1.08. Fairfax got $1.08. PVI 26, PVI 23, PVI 26 gets the lion's share of the money. Doesn't that strike you as odd? If you're trying to set up a system that's just trying to get people to vote?
It doesn't strike me as remotely equitable. It also doesn't strike me as being aimed at, in fact, equitable funding in elections.
Which I appreciate Dr. Moore's for. He's for that. So I'm not criticizing him at all. I think that he has some valid issues that we need to deal with. I thought it was very interesting because in the entirety of the 9th District, which covers that 9,000 square miles, we got $78,053, whereas Arlington County got $238,643. Is that accurate, or is that comport with your data?
Yes,
I'm taking it off, I think, your chart.
Online for anyone to check who likes.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's just shocking. And let me say, I know lots of people want to go to a partisan mischief. I don't have to go there. The system was set up poorly. It may have been partisan. It may not have been. Because what could have happened is they just put the money in, and then they created a system which, and you know how we all politicians, we know how to do this. You tweak the way the system works. You make it so the bigger counties and cities are going to get the money because they have the grant writers, and they can check the right boxes to get more money. They can say, oh, we need X, Y, and Z, whereas a rural county may not be able to do that. For example, in Scott County, Virginia, a couple of years ago, and there's a fight in the county as to whether they could or couldn't have, but the Board of Supervisors turned down a bunch of state money because it had a matching requirement, and they didn't feel like they could afford the match. And so you run into those problems as well, don't you?
No, exactly, although I would point out, if you go to the IRS website, it's very clear that charities cannot have the effect, whether or not they have the intention, of helping one party in an election.
Well, and I don't think there's any question that, at least in my home state of Virginia, a heck of a lot more money flowed to the Democrat jurisdictions. I believe the number's 90% of the money went to the Democrat-leaning jurisdictions as opposed to 10% for the non-Democrat leaning jurisdictions, and whether that was their intent or not, the result creates an unfair game. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Ms.